Welcome back to the Unveiled series, everyone. Today we return to the Ben 10 universe to ask the question, exactly how corrupt and evil is Michael Morningstar, aka Darkstar? As I do believe the only villain to have individual and group-wide beef with the entire Tennyson crew, Michael Morningstar is one of the most untrustworthy characters in the Ben 10 universe, slightly below Argent, because it's Argent. While appearing the purebred image of perfection, Michael has what I only assume a god complex. Born into a rich plumber family, as they have, and I quote him, several mansions, he treats all in his way as disposable pawns. We are first introduced to Michael in the 5th episode of Alien Force, All That Glitters, which, going even further on the showrunner's part, was a brilliant title, and I'll explain why. Michael Morningstar has, in the best words I can explain, ergokinesis, and that is the ability to physically manipulate various forms of energy and energy-related phenomena. My support of this coming from when we see various times while Michael is never stated to be a magical being, he is on par with Gwen and at times seemingly stronger. He can absorb energy similar to Osmosians like Kevin, and I'll get to that shortly, but this extends to mana, electricity, and even life force. Feeding on others' life force is precisely what allowed him to assemble a High School of the Dead parody army, take over his classmates. When he absorbs a great amount of energy, his skin becomes golden and his aura intensifies, almost like some sort of mythological figure. With his abilities, Michael can fly, fire energy projectiles in a large variety of ways, create shields, shock waves. It's even shown that he's been able to tank several attacks from Ultimate Humongousaur and the entire team. Granted, this was him at full power. Though there are a few examples I'll showcase as this video goes on. After Michael has drained a victim, perhaps one of his power's most cruel effects begin. The victim becomes attracted to him, truly like a male siren. Michael's draining causes varied levels of infatuation, from girls being unable to control themselves in pursuit of Michael's love, or even our supreme Ananite being Gwen, who over time didn't even notice Michael's deception. After draining his victims, Michael leaves behind these marks that appear as tattoos but are actually left behind traces of his literal leech hands, and those are never really fully explained. But this is what I spoke of earlier. Michael's appearance is that of glittering glam, but as the title of the episode hints, all that glitters ain't gold, my guy. This also, I think, being a good time to mention his last name is literally Morningstar, like he's literally a weapon of blunt destruction. Come on now. Now, while Michael has the power to absorb energy, his powers seem to have a more vicious cycle subject to them. The more life force he drains from others, the stronger and more powerful he becomes in tandem. However, the more power he gains, the greater his hunger becomes and his need to seek out higher quality energy sources. Okay, pause for a second. Dwayne McDuffie, are we sure he's not like some parasitic version of an Osmosian? Because I got real Kevin vibes here. But when underpowered, Michael has somewhat more of a Darth Vader-like appearance. As Darkstar, Michael's powers, appearance, and even wardrobe takes a complete spectrum shift. His face becomes gray and withered with a matching deteriorating hairline. This causes him to don a metal helmet in shame. His powers change also. While in this form, he can still fly, but gone is the golden glitter. And while prior he required physical contact, now as Darkstar, Michael no longer needs physical contact to absorb energy, but can use his own dark energy as projections and conduits to the people that he would like to steal life force from, which expands his list of targets exponentially. We see a lot of this applied in the battle in the cloaked hybrid encampment in Los Soledades, to the point of drawing attention from the fight due to how he was brutalizing the DNA aliens. It's never clearly stated how powerful Michael Morningstar is, but he's often on equal terms with Gwen, Kevin, and somehow Ben, skilled in hand-to-hand combat and with enhanced strength and durability. It's clear how he can present a threat to many of the Ben 10 universe. However, Michael routinely betrays literally everyone he works with, trying to double-cross and lie to Kevin after extending a false flag offer for the two to cooperate so they can get their original forms back. Then there's his initial meeting of Gwen and the superseding unhealthy drug-like addiction to her for years, the countless women he's manipulated, gaslighted, and harmed, and let's not forget Michael managed to charm Castor at the literal height of her power in Ledger Domain, and this is what I can't understate. This man is crafty enough to fool a realistic god of magic and siphon her power. This showing the worst side of his character because 1, he didn't even know Charmcaster's name, and 2, still had his crackhead obsession with Gwen. In my opinion, Michael Morningstar is actually one of the most despicable villains in the franchise. Now let me explain. Vilgax wants universal domination. The Hybrid literally want genocide. The Forever Knights are the alien KKK. Even antagonist is barely used as Rojo because she always loses, and Cash and JT have goals, ambitions. Michael, on the other hand, is just a dick. He wants the image of perfection, despite being in clear denial that his powers is making him a literal man-sized leech. His only goal is always self-centered and shows no greater ability or ambition, not even large-minded at that. Like, come on, if you're gonna be a villain trying to take over the world or something, it's whatever. But this is what makes Michael so disgusting to me. Despite constant chances to do good and be better, reducing himself to begging and pleading, Michael deep down gives no care for anything in the world outside of himself, which even makes me want to speculate that he probably killed his parents, because we really never see him involved. Because bro, you're like 16 with several mansions and state-of-the-art equipment and there's nothing behind it. I'm telling you, he's like a reverse Batman. But concluding, I would almost list Michael's powers as the cause of his egoism. His goading form being much like a metaphorical drug high, and his drain form making him go through what's more reminiscent of withdrawal. A true parasite by nature, Michael Morningstar will never acknowledge this and will only seek out stronger and more easily manipulated people. But you guys tell me, is he someone in the Ben 10 universe that doesn't deserve this? Is there someone else in this franchise that is more despicable and self-serving and low down than Michael Morningstar? Leave it down below in the comments, and don't forget, toss out a like or a subscribe here and there. It immensely helps the channel. Thanks for tuning into the Psych Ward, everybody.